Your bottle's like really big.
Sorry. I'm staying hydrated.
Oh, that's what I was going to. I was going to do a speed test on the laptop. That's what I was going to
How
do.
did my bottle remind you of speed test?
No, it didn't.
Oh.
It just came to mind.
Right.
Welcome, everyone, to the Goblins live show featuring myself and the wifey. Welcome, wifey, to the show. We've got... What?
I was about to say welcome wifey, sorry.
Welcoming yourself to the show.
Yeah,
Nice.
I'm here.
Dog's coming in as well. Yeah, we've got an awesome show lined up for you today where we are going to discuss what makes a good rider. Are you ready, wifey?
Yes.
Let's roll that intro. How are we doing, wifey?
Good.
Have you been up to anything interesting this week?
If I have to think this hard, probably not.
Yeah, me neither. Do
Just
you mind turning that off? Actually, it's getting pretty warm in here.
Turn it towards me instead.
No, turn it off because it's heating up the whole room.
Oh, it smells.
We've got a little heater in here, and with the weather warming up now, we don't actually need our little heater in here as much as we used to. So it's getting really hot in here. But no, I don't think there's anything new to report. No, nothing. I fried my hand on Friday, didn't I? Last week.
Deep fried hand. Wasn't the dinner I was expecting?
That was good. I was cooking some spaghetti bolognese, and the oil that I put in the pot, I was holding onto the mincemeat in my hand, and half of it dropped off as I was putting the mincemeat in. So the oil splashed up onto this hand, and I mean it's healing, but it's still a bit grimy. But yeah, so that was a good end to my week last week.
Between that and my migraine, we've been through the wars a little bit, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, it's anyway, right. So we've got a question that we're going to ask ourselves, and that is, what makes a good rider? Now, a lot of this is going to be very subjective, but just based on our experiences, we're going to try and figure out what attributes a rider should have to be so-called good. Now, when we're referring to good, are we referring to safe, or I suppose safety comes as part of being a good rider?
Oh, we've already answered the first part of the question then.
Maybe, I suppose. I don't know. But one other piece of news, we've got a different camera now. The camera that we did have is a Canon M50. I've stolen that one now because now that the weather's getting better, I'm going out and doing more shooting with that camera. So we would like to kind of pick up our Instagram again as well. So we'd like to start posting 5 days a week.
I think our handle.
It's on the banner up there. Yeah.
I mean, sound like sitting those for a minute.
Yeah.
I shall wait until it appears.
I don't know when it's going to pop up next. So we're planning to get our Instagram going again. So make sure to go and join us there if you're not following us on Instagram. Hopefully we've already started getting some nice shots for it, and hopefully we can make it a more regular thing. So we're planning to release new images Monday to Friday on Instagram.
Yes.
Featuring the ZZR and the ZH2 and maybe some other bikes. We'll see.
My arms got tired.
Yeah, but it's up on the banner. You've probably seen it all before, any of you that have watched a live show in the past. But so before we get on with the main topic of today's video, we've got a little bit of a challenge, a bit of a warm-up. And this is completely random, and it's something that I just thought, that'll be funny. Basically, we've got a pair of noise-cancelling headphones here, a cheap pair of noise-cancelling headphones. We're going to be playing a little bit of music through those headphones, and basically, one of us are going to be wearing the headphones and the other is going to try and whisper a sentence, and the person wearing the headphones has to try and guess what
There
that
it is.
sentence is. Yeah, there you go. That's the
There it is.
Instagram.
Sorry. I was poised. I was
She was
waiting.
waiting for that, waiting to strike. So, right, now, I have been a bit silly, and I was focusing so much on getting these headphones set up correctly that I actually forgot to come up with a couple of sentences. So I'm going to try and come up with something on the fly. Is that all right?
Yes.
Your sentences aren't long, are they? The ones that you've done?
No.
No. Okay. All right. Cool.
But
Okay.
I say everything I'm saying in jest, just so
Right.
you know.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
mean
Yeah.
what I'm about to say.
These statements aren't serious. They're going to be just whatever statements, basically.
Yeah, we don't
but-
prank each other like that, do we? Really?
No, exactly. So, all right. Let's see here. I'll wear the headphones first,
Okay.
and this is just for a laugh, by the way, guys. It's not serious or anything like that. Just for a laugh. Right. So I'm going to put the headphones on. I'm going to start playing some music through this laptop, and the wifey here is going to
I have 2 sentences.
give me the first sentence, and then we'll swap over. And then I'll give you one.
Mm.
Yeah. Right. I'll let the
So,
dog out first.
Am I giving you both sentences?
Alright.
Sorry.
There you go. No, just the one.
the one.
Just the one. Go on. There you go.
Okay.
Right, bear with. I haven't got the music turned on. Right, so we are going to try whispering into the mics to make it as easy as possible for you guys to hear us. All right. Right, music is playing.
Can you hear me?
What?
So you can't.
We're off to a good start.
That's
I am going to turn the music down ever so slightly because you've got much better hearing than I do anyway.
We were testing this.
But for me, the music is very distracting.
We were testing this, and he had to keep turning the music up till I couldn't hear him.
What?
So I'm not talking to you.
Oh, okay.
This is-
Right. You're going to have to give me like a 3, 2, 1, and you're going to whisper.
Okay.
Yeah?
3, 2, 1. Kawasaki Green looks like troll bogies.
Oh my god. Say it again.
Kawasaki Green looks like troll bogies.
How is it your...
No. Kawasaki Green looks like troll bogies.
Lego is... Say, do it in parts.
Kawasaki Green.
Kawasaki.
Green
Green.
looks like.
Sucks.
No. Looks like
Kawasaki Green looks like...
troll bogies.
Troll guts.
No. Troll bogies.
Kawasaki Green looks like...
Troll.
Baby poo.
Troll. 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 Bogies. Bogies. Bogies.
Stock.
Bogies.
Pooing. That's literally what you just said.
I can assure you it's not.
Sorry, right, go on, carry on.
Right, say the sentence again.
Kawasaki Green looks like...
Troll.
Troll.
Bogies.
Bogies!
Yes!
Yeah! Oh, bloody hell. Well, I was close to troll guts.
You were, but the wrong end of the body.
I was close. Oh, wow. Okay, that was really hard for me. There you go. I'll put those on. I've stopped the music for now.
Is there
Bloody hell.
yeah.
Troll bogies. Kawasaki Green looks like troll bogies.
I got that from influence from Harry Potter.
Troll bogies.
Yeah.
Troll bogies.
That's my British boy.
Oh, dear me. Right, okay. I'm just going to take a minute just to think about what it is I'm going to say. All right. Let's see here. Oh, no, this is going to be bad.
Oh, that's never a good thing when you start giggling.
Okay.
You're going to turn the music up as
Right.
well. Or leave it.
Can you hear me?
No.
No. Okay. Right. Cool. You ready? Okay. Right. Riding a Ducati.
Riding
A Ducati.
a Ducati
is like. Riding a Ducati is like riding the Rock's mum on steroids.
I don't think I want to repeat that, do I?
I'll turn up the music. Right. I'll say it again. Riding a Ducati
Riding a Ducati
is like riding the Rock's mum on steroids.
is like riding, and then I lose you,
The Rock's mum.
a giraffe's bum.
Yes. Riding a Ducati is like riding a giraffe on steroids. No.
On steroids.
No. Okay, right. You got that bit. Okay, right.
Giraffe isn't right.
No.
Okay.
No. Riding a Ducati
Riding a Ducati.
is like riding the Rock's mum
It's
on
like-
steroids.
It's like riding a giraffe's bum on steroids. Right. Riding a Ducati is like riding a...
Riding a Ducati is like riding the Rock's mum on steroids.
I need that middle bit. Hold on, the music stopped. It's changing song. Hold on.
I'll just move it along a little bit. There we go. Okay, right. I'm not gonna do it in chunks
I
anymore.
can't
You have to get.
understand a
You have
word
to
you're
get.
saying right now.
Right. Let's try again. Okay. Riding a Ducati
Riding a Ducati
is like
is like
riding the Rock's mum on steroids.
riding the wrong bum on steroids. No.
No.
Oh.
No. Riding the Rock's mum on steroids.
Do it again. Riding
The Rock's mum.
the wrong
No. Riding the Rock's mum.
giraffe.
I'm not saying giraffe.
You are.
I'm not saying giraffe. Riding a Ducati is like riding the Rock's mum on steroids.
You need to enunciate the word that's not giraffe.
It's not. I'm not saying giraffe.
You need to enunciate it.
The Rock's mum.
A garage.
No. The Rock's mum.
Your aunt's mum.
No. No, you're close. The Rock's mum. The Rock's mum.
The Rock's mum.
Yeah.
Riding
Yeah.
a cat is like riding the Rock's mum on steroids.
Yeah, you got it. Well done. Well done.
Goodness me. When you watch this back, honestly, it looks like you're saying giraffe. I was like, why? What's a giraffe's bum on steroids? I was like, what is that?
I'm really sorry. I just had to come up with something, and I thought that was really funny. So yeah, we have got the wife here has got a couple for each other. Excuse me, a couple for me. Right, we've been on for about 14 minutes now.
Okay.
Do you want to do the next one, or shall we get on with?
Let's just do one more.
Let's
for a
do
warm-up,
do
'cause
one more. Okay.
they're
one
quite
more,
fun.
one more. All right.
We'll do one more and then we'll move on to our topic.
Let's see here. Right, I'm just gonna change the song quickly. Okay.
The music
Right.
can get a bit distracting, you're right, because it's songs I
Yeah.
like. So I'm like tempted to focus on that.
Right, I'm ready.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Stop teasing me.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Yamaha should stick to making pianos.
I am gonna turn the music down a bit because it's getting a bit too distracting. Right, sorry. Say again.
Yamaha should stick to making pianos.
Yamaha rocks your socks off.
No. Yamaha
Yamaha
should stick.
just dates.
Do you know what that word means? Should stick.
Just dates.
No. I don't think Yamaha just states at all.
Yamaha just dates. should stay.
Should stick
Should stick.
to making pianos. To making.
Yamaha should stick.
To making pianos.
Yamaha should stick
To.
something up their ass.
To.
That's not helping. Yamaha should stick turbochargers on their bikes.
To.
Yamaha should stick
To.
to
Making.
to
Making.
to
Making. Making.
making.
Pianos.
Oh, pianos. Okay. That one was easy.
What was it?
Yeah, give me another one.
You want another one?
Yeah, give me another one. That was easy.
Okay.
Just think of something more random. Like, that made too much sense. I could work it out.
Could you? Because it didn't sound like you could.
Yeah. As soon as I got making.
Yeah. Yeah, because of Beverly Goldberg.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
All right, I'll give you one.
Okay. And then the last one.
Yeah, last one, and then we'll actually get on with the main topic of today's video. Right. Okay. Let's have a think here. Oi. Go on, out you go. Dog's making a racket today. Right, I'll change the song quickly. There we go. All right. Let's think here.
I like this song.
Yeah, I know, me too. Let's have a look. All right. Damn, I wish I was more prepared for this. You're distracting me with your dancing. Okay, right. Let's have a look here. I don't want to say the name of a brand out loud, or at the beginning rather. Let's have a think. Oh man, I've drawn a blank. Oh, I got an idea. An idea. I got one. Right. Let's think. So I've got the first bit. You ready? Okay, right. All riders
would love. What? Is that wrong?
She's getting it so easily.
Huh?
You're getting it so easily.
Huh? I can't hear you.
You're getting it really easily.
Oh. You're making faces.
Okay. Right. Let's. I'm gonna reword it. I'm gonna start again. Okay. Are you sure? I'm gonna turn the music up. I think he's cheating. All right. Let's. All right. Oh man. Oh, I can't think. Come on. I can think of one. All right. How many hogs?
How many what?
What? How many hogs does Harley Davidson make?
How many something does something make?
How many hogs does Harley
Ons.
Davidson make? Hogs.
Hots.
Hogs.
It doesn't help when you're laughing.
How many hogs does Harley Davidson make?
How many something does Harley Davis make?
Well, you basically got it. You just got to think of that last word.
What?
How many Davidson make?
Wheels.
Hogs.
Ons. You're doing this.
Hogs.
Oh.
How many hogs does Harley Davidson make?
How many horns does
No.
that?
You're so convinced then. How many hogs?
Horns. Horns.
Hogs.
Huts.
Hogs.
Huts. Hats. Helmets.
Hogs.
Hosts.
Hogs.
The music's gone like quiet because it's that part of the song.
I'll just change it. Here we go. Hogs. How many hogs does Harley Davidson make?
How many horns does Harley Davidson make?
Hogs. How many hogs?
Hots.
Hogs.
What?
Hogs. Hogs. How many hogs does Harley Davidson make?
How many Hondas does Harley Davidson make?
No. How many hogs? Oh. Hogs.
Let me give it H.
Yes. Hogs.
Hots. Hons. Horns.
Hogs. Hogs.
I don't know what that is.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. How many hogs does Harley Davidson make? Hogs.
Holes. Oh.
Hogs. Hogs.
I think we should leave it.
Hogs.
Horse.
That's not what you meant to say, was it? How many whores does Harley Davidson make? No. Hogs.
Hots.
No. Hogs.
Hogs. How many hogs does Harley Davidson?
Yes. How many hogs does Harley Davidson make?
I was trying to make the sound. And then the word came out. I'm so sorry.
Oh wow. Good stuff. Well done, wifey.
Oh dear.
Well done. I'm
you-
I'm sorry I threw that word in there.
You were sitting there making faces at me that were
Like-
not helping.
Like the original one I was going to say was all riders would love to be like Valentino Rossi, but you'd already got half of it.
Yeah.
So I was like, nope,
The
I'll
only
say something
way.
else.
The thing is, when this is partly I think why I'm able to do this easier than you are. When you're a drummer and you're at the back of the stage, you have to listen really carefully to what is happening, like out the rest.
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense.
And then when like if someone turns around and says something to you, you have to be able to lip read it.
yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, that was
Well,
fun.
there you go.
That was
Right.
serious matters.
Just gonna make sure that I've turned the music off. Yep. Okay. Cool.
Oh goodness.
All right, wifey. So, what makes a good motorcycle rider? What do we think makes a good motorcycle rider?
I've already mentioned safety.
Well, yeah, but in what
Wait.
ways can because I mean, let's put it this way: no rider is necessarily going to understand that the way they're riding is not safe. If you see what I mean. So let's try and come up with some criteria. What makes a good rider safe?
So making the Goblin Rides handbook of safe riders right now.
I wouldn't brand it like that.
I think it's quite catchy, personally. Okay.
What?
Nothing.
You can't think of anything?
I am thinking.
All right, so safety, in my mind, as for a good rider, I think personally that a lot of it for me is riding within your means. Yeah, so not trying to, you get to a point in your riding career where you understand when you're going, when you're trying to ride a bit too hard.
You're exceeding your skill set.
Basically, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I think one massive part of safety is. Because if you're consistently riding either outside your experience level or outside your skill level, then it's not necessarily going to end well.
And that could be if you're showing off.
Now, the opposite end of that same coin is that if you are a hobby racer and you're trying to get better at racing, then pushing your limits is the whole point when you're on a racetrack.
But is there not a safe place that those riders would be practicing
well,
anyway.
but that's another part of this conversation is someone who is a club racer. Are they necessarily a good street rider? Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah, I've heard that argument for
because
F1, actually.
they're gonna have more control over their bike, arguably, or they're gonna know how to get out of hairy situations in, like, I don't know, like going too fast around a corner, for example. A racer, someone that's got experience in racing, is probably going to be more aware of what it is they need to do in that situation if they're going too fast into a corner than someone that maybe doesn't. I mean, that is something that that studies have shown before, I believe, is that a lot of the times when riders are going too fast into a bend, it's not that they were going too fast into the bend, it's just they didn't know how to make the turn.
To judge it, maybe.
Yeah, not judging it. No, they just didn't know how to make the turn. So either they didn't know how far they could lean the bike over, they didn't know how they can slow themselves down in a turn, because obviously using the front brakes on a turn can be deadly. The bike will just slip out from underneath you if you're, if you're braking too hard. So, yeah. Well, I mean, I suppose we can come back to that. So, a good rider doesn't necessarily mean a safe rider, because safe is subjective. Well, all this is subjective, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking bollocks. What do you think? You've hardly been talking.
I'm sorry. I think...
Bearing in mind that you haven't ridden for that long, but where do you think your inexperiences are? Like, where do you think being at the stage you're at, where if you say, imagine you're at this point, how many steps have you got to go through before you actually become subjectively a good rider?
I just put way more hours in on the road, for sure.
So, okay, so being someone that is constantly riding, getting that experience.
Because
that's a good point.
Because if you can watch all the dash cam footage that you want of riders, and he's joined in the conversation.
He sure has.
Of riding going wrong and all that sort of stuff. But until you're unfortunately in the situation where you have to make a decision, or you have to get out or be safe or whatever, you're never going to learn. And I think that's one of the things is that... Sorry,
do you want to take a drink?
It's all that laughing. I think you have to put the hours in to get better and to, again, understand your means and be able to expand on your skill set and things like that. So I think that's part of it. I don't think being a pillion really... I think being a pillion gives you some road awareness and some awareness of being on a bike, but it's nothing like actually... I'd never become from being a pillion and be like, I'm a world-class rider, because completely different when you're in control.
Well, yeah,
completely different.
A pillion is active in the experience, but they're not, yeah, like I said, they're not in control of what's going on, per se.
But I think road hours are a big part of being of it.
So this is something then that really people can't help, is it? Because in order to become a good rider, you have to put the hours in to become a good rider. Yeah,
you can be satisfactory enough to pass your test, but
that doesn't make you a good rider.
That's what I'm saying.
Passing your test does certainly not make you a good rider.
You can do enough to be satisfactory enough to pass, but it's like when you're learning to drive. You can tick all those boxes that, yes, I can do an emergency brake and I can turn the car on and not stall and all that sort of stuff. But until you're actually on your own and you're having to control that thing by yourself, and there isn't someone in your ear telling you what to do or where to go, all of a sudden your experiences, you start to gain that experience.
Yeah, I suppose that I wouldn't say that I'm a good rider necessarily. I'm aware of the mistakes that I make whenever I'm riding, but I wouldn't say I'm a model rider, like if someone is, trying to perfect their riding ability, then looking at, the things that I do whilst I'm riding, I don't think is necessarily like.
Sorry.
I don't think that is. I don't think I could be that person. Like, I know stuff about riding. I ride myself a lot, but a lot of the time, it's. I don't know. I just want to put that out there. I by no means think of myself as a perfect rider. I don't think anyone can class themselves as a perfect rider.
No, because you can't judge what's going to happen on a day-to-day basis.
What I determine to be good riding ability is going to be completely different to someone else.
So
I mean, from how long have I been riding now?
Decade?
No, more than that. I think it's been 13 years. 13, maybe 14 years. 14 years of riding. So a lot of that does come down to just experience, I think, you know. But it is true, though. It does get to a point where you are either more or less dangerous on the road.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I can't remember what the statistics are for younger riders or riders that have got, say, less than 2 years experience, but it's something ridiculous. Like, a large majority of motorcycle-related deaths on UK roads are inexperienced riders or riders with less than 2 years experience.
Okay, so I have a counter question for you then. Do you think riders who do all these advanced motorcycle qualifications and go out riding with the police and all that sort of stuff are better riders than you because they've got those?
Again, I don't think that is a substitute for experience. So, like, for example, if you've got a rider, let's say a police officer who has done, obviously, their full motorcycle test, and then they've gone to do some kind of advanced motorcycle training. As far as I'm concerned, if they haven't ridden for more than 2 years, then they're still almost just as much of a risk as someone else.
But what if someone's been riding for, say, 40 years, and they've been riding for a long, long time, and then they go and do courses that have been run by people who used to be in the police, and it's all about riding skills and things like that?
Things like that, I mean, I can't really comment because I've never been on an advanced riding course, so I can't say for certain. But my impression is that a lot of the time when you're riding, you will pick things up.
Yeah.
You know? So you'll pick things up that will either make you a better rider or more dangerous rider. You know, some people might pick up habits that are potentially dangerous. You know, I've said before that the habit that I've got is sticking too close to cars in front of me. A lot of the time it's because I'm trying to get a better view of the road ahead, but I'm not watching what's under my nose, kind of thing.
Yeah.
As much as I'm looking further up the road.
Yeah.
So, you know, for me, that's one of those big things that I'm trying to work on myself, is trying to be able to find ways of getting the view down the road that I want without being too close to any vehicles in front of me.
Yeah.
And that's something that I am working on. I suppose things like advanced training courses might help with something like that. I don't know. Maybe not. But it probably gets to a point where if you've been riding for long enough, the things that these advanced riding courses are going to try teaching you, you're probably already going to know most of it.
Maybe.
I think. But then again, like I said, I can't comment. That's just my impression. I can't give anyone a firm yes or no on that. I have no doubt that there are these motorcycle instructors, these advanced riding instructors that have got, you know, little gems of knowledge, little golden nuggets of knowledge that will help your riding ability, your riding safety, you know, perhaps as much as tenfold. You just don't know. But I don't know personally how beneficial advanced riding courses are. To be honest, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But I would say that if someone has been riding for longer, then the things that these instructors will say to you will probably make a lot more sense. At least I think you'll be able to contextualize it a lot better than if you hadn't had those years' experience.
But people who have been riding for such a long time, their motorcycle test would have been vastly different to the ones it would have been now. Do you think that has an impact to how... No? No.
I mean, it's like what we were saying earlier, is, you know, you can pass a motorcycle test, you can pass a driving test, it's not going to make you the best driver or the best rider in the world. So, you know, just getting a piece of paper or a little piece of plastic saying that, yes, you can ride or you can drive this vehicle doesn't mean that you're necessarily competent at it. I suppose
that's true.
I suppose the level of competency has changed, you know, over the last 20, 30 years in terms of, you know, how they can examine riders based on their ability, their skills and their safety. But a lot of the time it's just bureaucratic practices. It doesn't really help your skill level. It doesn't help your safety necessarily.
I think it's interesting if we go back to the skill set as well. It's not just the skills you have to ride a bike, but it's making sure that the bike is actually suitable for you. Like, you know, if you get a 1000 and you cannot handle it, that's not safe. Like, you know, stick within your means type thing.
Yeah, and again, that's experience as well, because someone who has, say, less than 5 years experience might look at one of these motorcycles. I mean, this model here is a ZX-10R. They might look at a bike like this and they'll think, oh yeah, that bike is amazing, that's what I want. But in fact, it might be too much for them. And to be fair, motorcycles like these are probably too much for everybody. You don't need something like this to ride on the streets. Not really. I mean, if we're being honest with ourselves, no, you don't need it, but you want it. But there's still some level of control that you have to have with all motorcycles, but you have to be more aware of that control level as you get bigger bikes, basically. I love the fact that we can buy motorcycles that are, you know, far too powerful and too stupid for any normal person and whatever they would need. But having the option of buying motorcycles, like, it's no different to buying like a really expensive sports car, is it? It's the exact same thing. Like, you know, you don't need to buy a Ferrari with 1,000 horsepower or whatever, or a Pagani. You don't need that. But
it's funny.
But being able to buy one of those and being able to enjoy one of those on public roads, I think, is fantastic. I love that concept.
It's the fact you can, isn't it? But it's funny you say that, because gosh, where was I? I was somewhere recently and I saw a Lambo go past me and I thought, why have you got a Lambo on a country road? Like,
well, that's the best place for them.
I know, but it was like middle of the day, lots of traffic, rain, mud, and I was like, But I never
just taking it to work.
Yeah, just down the road. But then the fact you can doesn't mean you shouldn't. Doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you shouldn't though.
I mean,
if you can.
There's something exciting about getting on a machine that you know full well you're never ever going to be able to push it to its limits. It's always limited by the rider's ability, always. But there's something exciting about owning a machine that you know has significantly more potential than you do as a rider.
Does that?
And that can... Okay, there's two sides to a coin here. So you've got an inexperienced rider that might look at a machine like that and they might be like, oh, how much can I push this motorcycle? But then you might get an experienced rider that might be like, well, no, I know how much power I can take, how much power I can handle. I know my level, I know my limits. I'm not going to go beyond those limits.
Yeah.
So there's kind of like a difference in perspective, I suppose, in age and experience on on that side of things.
I have a question, and don't feel free not to answer if you don't want to, and it's open to our viewers to answer as well. Have you ever gotten a motorbike that's actually scared you, and you've gone,
No.
This is scary?
No.
It's got too much power, nothing like that.
I have never had that experience. that kind of fear has always excited me, though.
You get the adrenaline out of it.
Yeah, it gives me a buzz. I like that aspect of fear. Now, I suppose this depends on your personality, and I suppose it's the same thing like roller coasters.
I was about to say you like roller coasters, didn't you?
I love roller coasters, and I think if I was scared of roller coasters or what have you, then obviously I wouldn't necessarily be that fond of really fast bikes. Not necessarily that I couldn't enjoy a motorcycle, but I'd find a motorcycle, with much more manageable power to be more enjoyable, perhaps, than something that had double the horsepower. It's like I watched a video on Yami Noob the other day, and it was Spite, and it was his first ride on a Gixxer 1000, a GSXR 1000, so a Suzuki 1 litre sport bike. But this is from 2006, I think he said. And it's really interesting watching that vlog where he was riding it. It seemed like an awesome bike, and I'd absolutely love to have a go on a Gixxer, but those bikes from the mid-noughties don't have anywhere near as much horsepower as modern bikes do. The modern, you look at a modern Fireblade, you look at a modern Gixxer, you look at a modern R1. These are all motorcycles that are producing significantly more horsepower than they did, say, 10 years ago. But at the same time, watching that video, you could tell that it was still plenty fast enough for almost anyone on the street. Yeah. And it's quite funny because Honda have always been criticised, or used to be criticised, for their Fireblade, because they, you looked at an R1, you looked at a ZX-10R, you looked at the Gixxer 1000, they were all producing 200 horsepower or so, from, God, I can't remember when these manufacturers started increasing the amount of power these 1 litres produce, but it was in the last 10 years. And basically, during the noughties, all 1 litre bikes produced between 160 and 180 horsepower. Usually, that's the kind of horsepower that they would produce. Honda continued producing that much horsepower until I think as recently as 2019. I can't remember when their latest Fireblade model came out, but they were still producing like 170 odd horsepower on their Fireblade, whereas all the other manufacturers had gone well over 200 horsepower. I mean, the R1 is still, I think, 199 horsepower, 200 horsepower, something like that to this day. But even that was producing significantly more horsepower than what you'd consider a modern 1 litre motorcycle. And you can kind of understand why Honda didn't think, well, you don't need any more horsepower. But that's the thing. That's not how marketing works. Whenever you look at a motorcycle, you think, oh, that's got 170 odd horsepower. But that has got 213
There's always
horsepower.
Something bigger and better,
right,
and faster.
So Honda, obviously, they caught on that they weren't selling. Well, probably they weren't selling as many Fireblades as they used to, because they simply didn't have the power output of some of these other manufacturers on their 1 litres. And it's like, well, you don't need it, but it's all just marketing. All of it's just marketing.
Works though, doesn't it?
Well, and that's the thing. Honda have kind of flexed a little bit over the last couple of years with their new Fireblades. I think it produces the most horsepower of any naturally aspirated 1 litre bike out there at the moment. What is it? 218 horsepower, 217 horsepower, I think, for the latest Fireblade, something like that. I think the one closest to that is the ZX-10R. I think that's producing 213 horsepower. But so there's an argument to be made about not necessarily the rider, but the bike the rider chooses to ride.
But it comes back to that whole ride within your means.
Yeah,
scenario,
but not even riding within your means. Being aware that you are on a motorcycle that is far more capable than you are, even if it is a bike from like the 80s or the 90s that's producing 150 horsepower or less, you probably aren't able to extract all the performance the bike has to offer, even from back then. So, but being aware of that, and knowing that you have so much potential underneath the fuel tank, in between your legs, does give you a bit of a adrenaline rush, I think, for me personally. So I wouldn't necessarily say that someone buying say, let's just say a Fireblade. If someone bought a modern Fireblade, I wouldn't necessarily say that they're a bad rider just because of just because they picked a motorcycle that is far more powerful than they'd ever be able to use. I would actually say that person ideally knows what it is that they've bought.
Oh yeah, I'm not insinuating that people
but
are a bad
that's the thing.
rider because of the bike they choose.
But that's what I mean. That's what I mean. There's the other side of the coin where there's someone that buys a motorcycle like that and they have no idea what they've bought.
That's it.
You know,
it happens. I'm sure.
You know, like you look at 200 horsepower on a car. 200 horsepower in a car is nothing. Like you can power that down all day long in a normal everyday car, but on a bike having 200 horsepower is mental. It's not just stupid, it's absolutely insane.
Yeah, you
seriously don't need that much power. I mean, people have the exact same criticism about 600cc sport bikes as well, you know, especially because of where it generates its power. It generates the power at over 10,000 rpm. You're right, bud.
Trying to take off.
Yeah. And again, you very rarely are going to use 120 odd horsepower
if ever
on a 600 Super Sport.
You might do it the first couple of times you take it out, and then after that, maybe not.
Well, yeah, and that's one of the things actually I really liked about my old CBR 600RR was that I could extract that power. I could use that power band a bit more on the street than a 1000. You know, which is why I have quite a big appreciation for bikes like the ZZR, like the ZH2, where you have usable power right down low where you need it, or where you could make use of it. If you had something like a Fireblade, where you still have power and stuff throughout the range, but you're never ever going to extract if any of the power that is in the last 5,000 RPM that you've got ever. And that's the biggest problem with these 1 litre sport bikes. They're fantastic motorcycles in every way, shape, or form, and marvels of engineering. But at the same time, it kind of makes you won't get anywhere near using that power. Whereas at least with the ZZR and the ZH2, you can use the power that it has because it's generated lower down in the rev range, which means it's generated at lower speeds, and that's basically the difference. I mean, again though, the ZH2 isn't a sensible bike. The ZZR is not a sensible bike, but I love them nonetheless. You know?
What is a sensible bike then, in your opinion?
That's impossible to answer.
Exactly.
That is impossible to answer. A sensible bike can mean a totally different thing to different people. So, you know, because again, you will find seasoned riders that will be perfectly happy with something like a Ninja 400. You know, they'll be perfectly happy with an R3. They'll be perfectly happy with an MT-07. They'll be perfectly happy with something like that, and they would say that is the most sensible kind of bike because they're street oriented. The power band is right where you need it, so you've got the power as and when you need the power to overtake or what have you, or get away from the line quickly. You know, you're not going to be doing wheelies all the time just from giving the throttle a bit of a wiggle. Some people will consider those kinds of motorcycles to be the sensible choice. And to be honest, I would agree with them. You know, you don't need 4 cylinders. 2 cylinders, a parallel twin is perfectly fine. A V-twin is fine. I mean, I think that's why an SV650 from Suzuki was quite a popular bike, because it had a nice amount of torque from the V-twin engine. And it was a perfect everyday motorcycle. I think a lot of people would consider that to be an optimal kind of, what's the word? Balance between power and usability. Power, top end power, and usable power. You know, I'm trying to think if we're kind of getting off topic a bit here, because now we're talking more about the motorcycles rather than the rider. Yeah. So
it all goes hand in hand, though.
Yeah, it does, and this is why this question is such a difficult one to answer. It's not because of a rider's skill. It's not just because of a rider's awareness. It's not just because of the motorcycle they decide to buy. These are all factors that
feed into it.
That have a massive role to play. I would say a better rider is someone that knows how to ride within their means, but at the same time isn't necessarily enamored by loads of horsepower, loads of torque, you know, because when you think about it, if you don't have the power there, if you don't have the torque there to begin with, you can't use it, you know. Even me, every now and then, I'll get the urge to open up the taps a little bit, and if I do that at the wrong place at the wrong time, I'm dead. So, and that's something that's me talking. That's quite. I feel quite reserved with the way I ride. I never ever, very rarely. I can't say never ever, but I very rarely push myself on the bike. There's no point.
Yeah.
But I do every now and then get those urges to, you know, to open up the taps a little bit and just to have, you know, try and enjoy myself a little bit more than how I normally would, especially if I'm having a bad day or something and I want to relieve some stress. But having that power there, that isn't necessarily a good thing. You know, I don't think that's my opinion, guys. That's my opinion. What do I know, eh? Just a guy talking on a live stream. But yeah, a good rider is someone who has experience. I would say has over 5 years experience, at least 5 years experience, knows the kind of motorcycle they are buying, knows that, or is aware that the motorcycle is going to be far more capable than they are as a rider, and know to ride within their means. I mean, we're not talking specifically about how fast they go or what have you, because again, you know, we have this whole concept of speeding, but then you look at police, ambulance, fire trucks, you know, that they're breaking speed limits all the time. And yeah, fine, they're in flashy cars and what have you, you know, that make lots of noise. But at the end of the day, the skill of the driver in one of those vehicles still has to be pretty good to be able to do those kinds of speeds that they do. But that's not to say that it's not doable. You can do those speeds on the roads. So, but I mean, that's a whole other argument entirely. But I don't necessarily think that a good rider is a slow rider. You know, I don't believe that for 1 second, not at all. But that's just me. Right, let's have a look at the chat. Yeah, you guys have been busy in the chat. I do apologise for leaving it so late, guys. Right, Lone Wolf UK. Hello, mate. It's good to see you again. I'm glad to have you here. He says Hogs, HOG equals Harley Owners Group. Harley Davidson don't make hogs. Winky face. Yeah.
Definitely not the word I thought it was anyway.
That 125 guy, good to see you again, mate. A good rider is a smart rider. Yeah, of course. The only problem is, what makes a smart rider? Well, that's
part two coming soon.
Yeah. That's a tough question, isn't it? Lone Wolf UK. What makes a good rider? Experience. Yep, without a doubt. Yeah, we've covered experience. It's my personal belief that experience counts for more than training. Yeah. So if you're constantly doing, you know, like advanced riding tests or something like that, or riding courses, but you're not actually putting the hours in on the street riding your motorcycle, it doesn't. Those sessions probably count for nothing. But like I said, if you have got that experience and you go on these advanced riding courses, I think you're going to get a lot more out of it. You know, if you're actually putting the hours in.
Yeah.
Lone Wolf UK. The day you pass your test is the day your learning begins. Oh, yes. Mate, you are full of lovely quotes like that, you know? Absolutely full of them. It's fantastic. Because it's so true.
Yeah, it is.
You know, I mean, how long does it take to pass your test? What? I mean, well, in today's environment where test bookings are, 6 months in advance?
Yes.
Something like that, you know? I mean, yeah, fine, you've got a long time to prepare for it, but I mean, when I did my full test, it was literally just an intensive course. You did, I think I did 3 weekends, or maybe even been 2 weekends, and then you do your test on the 3rd weekend, and Bob's your uncle, you've got a license. So yeah, absolutely. Lone Wolf UK, knowing you can tame the beast inside is the best feeling you can ever have. Yeah, that's what I was referring to earlier with the whole way that knowing what you're riding and understanding what it is capable of, for me, is very exciting. It's a very exciting thought. I suppose it's the same thing. Like if you get in a Formula One car and you're not a Formula One driver, knowing that this car is far more capable of than you'll ever be, and how much respect, at that point you kind of think to yourself, wow, these F1 drivers, even the ones that are like bottom down in the list,
they still made it.
They're still driving these insane cars insanely fast around a track.
Yeah.
Significantly quicker than most people would be able to drive a car like that around a track. It's crazy, man. Ashley Ligat, excuse me if I've gotten your name wrong there. Being a smart rider makes you a better rider. Yeah, so I suppose that kind of comes down to the whole thing of anticipation. How much anticipation you have of things that can either go right or go wrong for you. Knowing that there's potential danger around a corner and being ready to either stop, slow down, or evade that particular danger. Again, it's one of those things that you have to have constantly in the back of your mind. Unfortunately, again, there are some people that don't have that foresight. Not necessarily because... not necessarily because they don't have that foresight to begin with, but they're, lapse of concentration for half a second. Sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah,
that's all it takes. You have to be consistently concentrating on your ride and consistently concentrating on your surroundings. Lomwolf UK, haha, Goblin. You want a rapid, scary bike? Go try out a Yamaha RD 500 LC in Mars bar colours. I know a guy that keeps up with a modern 600 and 1000 on a 500 LC. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't recognise that bike. I will certainly have a Google probably later on today. I'll tell you what, actually, I'm going to sod it. I'm going to have a look right now.
In Mars bar colours, I love that.
Let's have a look. Yamaha, what is it? Yamaha RD 500 LC. Oh, okay, so it's a classic. In fact, shall I might as well pop it up on here for everyone to see, mightn't I? Right, I'm just going to swap the screens over quickly, so we've got a better view of what's going on. All right. Let's have a look here. Right. Yamaha. What was it? RD 500. RD 500 LC. Here we go.
What's happened to the screen?
Oh, hang on. That's because I was typing on my keyboard and a shortcut came up, but no, that's not the right one. You see the laptop screen there, and that's the intro. Oh god, I'm all over the place. See, I move everything over onto a different screen. And I can't see what the broadcasting software is doing. Right, which one is laptop screen 2?
Up one.
Oh, it is that one. Okay, so I have to move everything back. Sorry about this, guys.
I said up one.
Yeah, this one. Here we go. There it goes. Now they can see it. But now I've got to move us a little bit. There we go. I'll just resize this. Here we go. Right. Let's have a look. So yeah, this is a classic sport bike. It looks really neat.
Would you mind making one of the pictures bigger? Sorry, I still can't really see that. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. That's a pretty neat bike. I have to say, I do like the old styling of some of these motorcycles. Is that a 2-stroke? I wonder if that's a 2-stroke. Because for 500cc, I mean, well, actually, it might not be a 500cc. Actually, to be fair, I'm just gonna have a little Google here about the specs quickly. Yep, 499cc V4, and it is a 2-stroke. Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense. 2-strokes traditionally produce power more efficiently than a 4-stroke. So that's probably why. But yeah, that's a really, really neat little bike. And I tell you what, there have been all these like little project bikes that these manufacturers make where somehow they've got small displacements, but they're packing a hell of a lot of horsepower. Yeah, so some of these bikes are absolutely insane, because Kawasaki have always been criticized for having a 636cc engine, so having an extra 36 cc's in the 600 class, just they can produce more horsepower. But there is a motorcycle that they've made in the past that has 599 cc's, the same as the other brands, and it still produces a butt ton of horsepower. I can't remember exactly what the bike is. Forgive me about that, guys. I cannot remember for the life of me. But yeah, what these manufacturers can do with some R&D budget is just insane. All right. Let's have a look here. Let's go back to the chat. Yeah, thank you for that, Lone Wolf UK. That's a lovely bike indeed. Right, but I see your point. Having a bike over 150 horsepower gives you a buzz, even though we can't use the power to its full potential. Yeah, that's unfortunately that is the case for most people, and that's the thing. If you're using 200 horsepower on a bike or 150 horsepower on a bike on the street, it's probably not going to end well. 'Cause again, even if you are skilled enough to be able to control a motorcycle at peak horsepower like that, 150, 200 horsepower, you still don't know what's going to happen. At least on a racetrack where you've got the open space, you've got the what's the words? You're able to what's the word? Where they've got like an area, a section on a bend where you can ride on if you can't make the bend. Damn, I can't remember what the name is. But anyway, there's sections of the track that allow you to run off the track if you need to. So being a track environment gives you the opportunity to use as much horsepower as you possibly can, but it's not necessarily the best thing to do on the street, I have to say. Let's have a look. Lone Wolf UK, sorry Mr. Goblin, you bring up so many topics I wish I could talk with someone about. There's a lot of stuff in this one question. a lot of aspects into it. I mean, we probably can't cover it all in the space of an hour, unfortunately.
But we do love the comments that we get, though.
Oh, absolutely, and that's the thing as well, isn't it? The things that I say, the things that the wife says, they're not necessarily correct, but they're talking points. Yeah. Like they're open for debate and things like that. Lone Wolf UK, motorcycles, photography are my passions, along with some decent rock music. 35 years riding bikes of many kinds, full of quotes. Nah, mate, simply the lone wolf in me. Honestly, I think you don't give yourself enough credit there, mate. Honestly, you've got you do say a lot of really, really valuable, inspiring things, I have to say. I mean, you're 35 years of riding, you can certainly hear it in the words that you say, for sure, without a doubt. Ashley Leggett, Goblin, I see your videos all the time. I see you riding around Gloucester and Cheltenham a lot, so we should have a ride out sometime. I also have a ZZR 1400 and from Cheltenham. Yeah, that's interesting. I haven't actually had anyone that has recognised me around the area that we live. So yeah, that's interesting. That's very, very interesting. Yeah, I might take you up on that, mate, at some point. Don't you worry. We'll especially with the riding season just around the corner as well, makes sense. It's funny actually. I saw. I was filming a video a couple of weeks ago, and I rode past two ZZRs. One was a first gen ZZR. It was like grey, silvery grey colour. And the other one was like mine. It was a second gen. I can't remember what year it was. I don't think I saw the reg number, but it was definitely a second generation one. It was just two guys just riding around the same routes that I do, basically, whenever I'm shooting the videos. And I thought that was very, very interesting. how many people ride these motorcycles. I don't think they get enough attention, ZZRs. You know, everyone's talking about Hayabusas all the time. It's like Hayabusas, they're kind of overrated, especially in the third generation. You know, if you want a Hayabusa, you get a second gen. You don't get a third gen. Especially, you know, with all the emission standards and regulations that they've had to do now to limit that bike. It doesn't make much sense to me getting a third gen Hayabusa. But yeah, ZZR is absolutely wicked. But you guys all know my thoughts around the ZZR. I've said it enough times. Right, yeah, I think that's everything, guys. Yeah, thank you ever so much for your thoughts in the chat. It's always great chatting to you guys every week. It's good to kind of touch base and see what you guys are up to. And that's the thing, yeah, if there's anything interesting that you guys have been up to, feel free to drop it in the chat, because honestly, there's so many interesting things that you guys say. It certainly makes the show what it is, I think, personally, you know.
Yeah, I think the engagement makes it enjoyable for us, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
We're not just talking to each other.
No. I know. We're
talking to you guys.
The whole point of this is to communicate with our viewers and give the viewers an opportunity to communicate with us. So, yeah, I love this format, and I'm glad that we started it off. But yeah, guys and girls, it's just gone 7:00 now, so I think we're gonna leave the show here for tonight. Yeah, is that all right, wifey? Have you got any closing remarks for today's show? Anything you want to bring up at all?
Every time I go to say something, you ask me another question.
Sorry.
No, just I think, like you've said, we give our opinions, whether or not they're shared by everybody.
Yeah,
doesn't matter. But we appreciate people coming back every week and listening to us talk and supporting us. So yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I echo the wife's comments there for sure. Yeah, it's it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah,
and
it's a community for sure, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, Lone Wolf UK says, Goblin, do you have Facebook, Twitter, somewhere to communicate? No, we are not on Facebook. We are not on Twitter, unfortunately. It's something that I've thought about getting on Twitter, but so far the only places you can find us are on YouTube and on Instagram for the time being. But yeah, I mean, if you like, you can send me an email. It's on the YouTube information about our channel. So it's just goblinrides@gmail.com. So yeah, if you want to reach out to me, then yeah, that's probably the easiest place to get hold of me for the time being. Yeah, but if you're on Instagram, yeah, by all means, I think can you. I'm a bit of a noob with Instagram.
Instagram's my baby.
So are you like, can you do like instant messaging and stuff through Instagram?
I think so. Yeah, I think you send messages. It's how I communicate with some of our friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
You can always send us messages there as well.
Yeah, Instagram is a fairly new thing for me. God, I sound like a bloody dinosaur.
If the shoe fits. You've been de-evolved. Like, we watched the Mario movie.
Oh, gosh.
That's what we did. We watched the old Mario movie on my request, and Goblin's been de-evolved into a dinosaur and doesn't know what Instagram is.
I'm the King Koopa.
Yeah. Rufflehead.
Yeah. Biscuit breath.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Some of the insults in that are brilliant.
Sorry, love that movie.
Yeah. Anyway, that'll do for today's show, guys. Thank you ever so much for tuning in. Thank you for, again, all of your thoughts and comments in the chat. Really, really appreciate it. And yeah, we will catch you all in next week's show. Again, we've got a release tomorrow. So yeah, if I see you then, well, yeah, we'll see you then, hopefully. If not, then yeah, we'll catch you all next week. Hope you have a good weekend. And yeah, we'll catch you next week.
Ride safe.
Yeah, ride safe, guys.
My arm's gone dead.